Fun fact, guys, the modal ontological argument is is one premise long. If you really want to summarize it, it's one premise long. Because if you have the S5 axiom, you just say God possibly exists, and the conclusion is God
Yeah,
necessary.
you
So
just
God is
answer the
possibly
conclusion.
necessary, right? Right.
Hmm.
Do you, Brix, do you have an argument for premise one?
Maximally great
I'm
being,
eating
bro.
right now, but I just say if there's no
Yes.
logical contradiction.
But that's not what's required to justify premise one. Because given the S5 axiom, justifying premise one isn't just demonstrating that there's no contradiction, it's also showing that it's necessary.
Given the concept, what we're referring to when we invoke like the term God isn't like some just like Hercules or like Zeus. We're referring to like the creator of like everything. So
It's a
when we refer to the
necessary
creator,
being, not a contingent one.
So is it analytically true?
yeah, it's just like an analytic truth. Yeah, it's primitive.
So the okay, wait. So God exists because analytic in the concept of God is that he exists.
That's kind of basically what it's saying. I feel like it's more nuanced than that, but yeah.
Well, that's what if it's analytic, then you'd have to say that existence is just a predicate of the concept God.
No, I disagree. I don't think the Kantian objection works.
You say what?
I said I don't think the Kantian objection works.
You don't think that, or you think existence is a predicate?
No, I don't believe existence is a predicate, but I believe that's just like attacking like Leibniz and like
That's what
apologize.
necessary
I just
Well,
means,
given what you said, you're saying it's analytically the case that God necessarily exists because analytic to the concept of God is that he
well, it's
necessarily
what we
exists.
call it's what we call God. Like I feel like this is what I feel like people get confused. We're not saying that like just like Yahweh or like Allah or like Zeus or Hercules is necessary. It's not what like the argument is like quote unquote trying to say. It's trying to say
You're talking about the God of the philosopher. You're talking about the God of the philosophers. I'm aware, but you're saying a predicate of the God of the philosophers is that he necessarily exists.
well when you say a predicate, if you're just saying something that's true of this subject, then yeah. Yeah.
Or it's analytically true, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what
Or it
if
has necessary existence, yeah.
right, but that's treating existence as a predicate. Like, okay,
Well,
actually, let me give you a parity argument. So, are you convinced that a necessarily, great pizza full of pineapple exists? Like, do you believe that thing exists?
no, I don't think that like contingent things.
Well,
I
it's
don't think
it's
that
not
like that.
contingent actually. It's a brute necessary perfect pineapple pizza. And I know it exists because it's analytically the case given the stipulation of the concept, and I just plugged it into the S5 axiom.
I think that at that point you're just defining God.
Is that
Wait,
not?
wouldn't a
No,
great
it's a pineapple pizza.
I mean,
wouldn't
yeah, you're
that be a
calling it a
contingent
pineapple
thing?
pizza, but the concept that you're referring to is God. That's what I'm
No,
saying. I
no,
don't think that
no,
like
no. God does
I
God
don't
have
think that token
pineapple
said back to
all
him.
over him? What? Does God have pineapple over
Wait.
him?
So now
Because
you're
this
referring to
pizza.
contingent things. You're referring to
No,
things
no,
that
it's a
the God cannot
necessary.
exist.
It's a necessary. No. It's necessary
It's a
analytically.
contradiction. It's a contradiction.
What's the contradiction?
Yeah, the contradiction is you're bringing this contingent thing and saying it's necessary.
You're
So it's
saying it's
contingent and
contingent.
necessary.
You're saying it's contingent. I'm telling you, analytically, the case. It's true.
So it's not if it's not
Yeah,
contingent, then it's
are pineapples contingent?
This pineapple's necessary.
This pineapple is necessary. All
Yeah,
you're
this
saying is that
pineapple is
this
such that it's
pineapple is God.
necessary.
All you're
No,
saying
I'm
is
not saying that.
you're
Oh,
just saying pineapple and God. That's all you're saying.
God is not analytically identical to the concept of necessity. You're saying God is a thing with the property of necessity. I'm telling you, this pineapple pizza is also a thing with the property of necessity.
No. I think that's where we're confused, right? Look, when you say like predicate, I said like if you're just gonna say that this is something that this is
It's
true of the
true of the
subject,
pizza. Yeah,
yeah, it's true of the subject. Then yeah,
yeah.
sure. This is because like this MGB is gonna be identical to existence. He's gonna be like the supreme existence, right?
What
That's
does
what
that mean?
being
Supreme?
means.
No. So God is an
Yeah, he's
object,
gonna be
right?
identical to it. He's gonna be identical
God
to
is an
existence.
object, right?
What do you mean by object here, though?
Like an entity with a
Uh,
specific, like God, for example, God is not you. God's not like a
yeah,
collection
God
of
is a
you and
being.
me.
Yeah, God is a being. Yeah,
Yeah, God's a object, right? And you're
yeah.
saying that a property of this object or something true of the object is that it necessarily exists, right?
Then yeah,
Right. And now I'm telling you that there exists an object. This object is a pineapple pizza. And that pineapple pizza, just given the, stipulation of the concept, it necessarily exists.
Given the stipulation, yeah, that's not what we're saying though. We're saying that the concept of this thing implies necessary existence.
And
It's not like,
but you're saying it's implied because it's analytically the case, which just means which is just to say
well,
that
no, no,
given the
no,
concept.
well, no, yeah, the definition of the maximally great being that's the concept of it.
Yeah, the definition of a maximally great pizza is that it exists.
What is it? What is even a maximally great pizza though? That's what I'm
It's
saying.
a
Like when you
pizza
say,
full of pineapples.
when you say that, look, when
That's
I
what's
say that,
meant.
look, when I say the MGB, what is meant by this, what is meant by maximal is just it possesses maximal properties, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to be
I'm
omniscient.
telling you that. No, no. I
Go ahead.
understand you're defining the omni properties. I'm just saying you don't even need the maximal thing. I'm telling you by maximally great pizza, I simply mean it's full of pineapples and it exists.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what we're saying.
What's the symmetry breaker? Because
Yeah,
what
the
makes your
symmetry
God
breaker.
exist is the same
Yeah, the
thing as what
symmetry
makes the
break.
pizza exist.
Yeah, the symmetry breaker is just that this thing is like implies necessary existence. Like when
Yeah,
we
yeah, but
talk
it's
about this,
implied given
look,
its analytic. It's implied given the concept's definition, right?
when you say the concept's definition, I think you mean like the being's essence, like what it actually is.
Like the
So yeah.
definition of right. And I'm telling you the definition of the maximally great pizza is that it exists.
But when look, when you're invoking this term
What's
maximum
the
great
difference?
pizza, yeah, I don't look when you're saying this, I don't believe that there really is a difference because all you're using is a
What do
different
you mean?
term and
One's a
call. Look,
pizza.
I'm gonna explain to you what's the difference. If you're saying that the actual thing is a pizza, is a literal pizza, pizzas are contingent.
One, no, no, no. This pizza is necessary.
You can't just say a pizza is necessary.
Why not? What's the contradiction?
Yeah, the pizza is necessarily it's analytically contingent.
No, no,
Well,
you're saying that's what's in question. That you're presupposing the thing you just said was the conclusion of the contradiction. That's begging the question. I'm
no,
telling you that by
I'm saying
definition,
it's
this
analytic.
maximally great pizza. But
Look. When you say it's a maximally great pizza, and I asked you, what do you mean by maximally great? You're saying it's just
it's a
like a big pizza.
necessarily existing
Look, hold
pizza.
on. Like, please, just let me finish. Please, just let me finish. You're saying that this pizza is just like really big. It has pineapples on it, and it exists. Right?
Yep.
This isn't like you're already implying that it has this like contingent thing, material
What's
things,
contingent?
yeah, the materiality of this
Oh
thing,
no,
of this
wait. Oh,
being.
that why is that contingent? I'm telling
Why
you
are
that's necessary.
material things are necessary?
And then I'm telling you this pizza is necessary. This pizza, this matter, this pineapple all over it. That's all
Yeah, I
necessary.
don't believe that matter is necessary. It's the argument that
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
is necessary.
What's the argument that God's necessary? It's analytically true, right? And I'm telling you it's analytically true for the pineapple pizza.
It's just yeah. What we're talking about is yeah. So when we're invoking God, right? You do realize we're talking about the creator of the universe, right? We could both agree
I'm
on that.
telling you about the
We could
eternal
wait
absolute
when we
pizza.
look when we're invoking God, right? When we're saying if God exists, right? What we
Uh-huh.
are talking about is the creator of all things, correct? We could both agree on that.
It depends on how you define creator, because typically the triomni
The
God is not
maker of
defined.
all things.
Well, typically the triomni God isn't defined in terms of its relationship to the universe. It's defined using the omni properties, right?
Yeah,
So it's
sure.
not defined as the creator. It's defined as all knowing, all powerful, all good. So
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't necessitate that it's the creator of the universe. Now you
well,
might say it is with the
that's
stage two
just yes,
argument.
yeah, that's just the essence. That's what I'm saying. When we're discussing if God exists, we're talking
You're
about
talking
the
about the
creator.
triomni God. No, no, you're talking about the
Well,
triomni God.
yeah, obviously the creator is going to have these triomnies, right? But
No,
this
no, you're
doesn't like,
assuming it's a creator. Look, you can believe in the existence of a triomni God and then not successfully establish stage two of the argument, which is that God creates the universe. That's the second stage of the argument. Like, it's not analytically unless you want to say it's analytically the case that God created the universe, in which case I can just as arbitrarily stipulate that the causal powers of the maximally great pizza created the universe. So I don't. It's just as arbitrary.
wait,
Because all you're doing right now is
wait,
you're reifying a
Wait,
concept into
all
existence.
P2 is say, wait, all P2 is saying it is if this being is possible, then it necessarily exists,
That's
and if it
just the
necessarily,
S5 axiom.
yeah,
There's one premise in the ontological argument, and it's just that it's possibly necessary. And then the axiom does the rest of the work. And I'm telling you, well, look, then you should be convinced of a necessary pizza, because I'm telling you that definitionally, right? If I define to you, so I'm telling you these are the conditions of the concept. By maximally great pizza, I mean a pizza full of pineapple, which necessarily exists. So just given the definition of the concept, right? Given that all these things are true of the pizza, it would just follow that it necessarily exists. Because analytically, it's just defined as something which necessarily exists, which is the same thing you do when you say God exists. You're just saying, well, it's analytically the case. He's just defined as being necessary. So you should believe that there exists a necessary pineapple pizza because it has the same reasoning in support of it as the S5 axiom. And I'm not even deriving the contradiction yet, because I could say that there exists like a maximally great world independent of God, and presumably that, if it's modal, right, then that contradicts your conclusion you just gave. So Anyway, point is, what is the trait true of, or what is the symmetry breaker between the argument for the existence of God and the argument for the existence of the perfect pizza?
Yeah, I'm still not following, because when you're talking about this pizza, right, you're still saying it's like material, right? It has like form,
Yeah,
it has
the
these things, right?
materiality is necessary. Yeah, it's all necessary.
What do you mean? What do you mean by the materiality is necessary?
Like its
What's
material
the argument that
existence is
thing
necessitated.
its material existence is necessitated?
Yeah, it's analytically necessitated given the definition of the perfect pizza.
Yeah, I don't believe that like
You don't
material
believe that's the
things
definition?
are
that's the
necessary.
definition. Yeah,
Not
well, I don't.
look
What do you
when
mean?
we
Why
think of,
not?
yeah, because
Is
look,
there a contradiction?
is there a contradiction? No, I can't think of one right now.
See, then it's okay. Well, then the objection failed, right? Because I'm just saying the definition is that it exists necessarily. So, like, I could say there exists necessarily a pineapple pizza eternal in space-time, and it's establishing of its existence is just mirroring the establishing of the existence of God using the modal ontological argument. So, I mean, that's why I think that argument is silly, because you're just reifying things into existence. So, I mean, there's also like another argument to be made about like the use value of the S5 axiom, but doesn't even matter. Anyway,
That was
Man,
much more.
you're gonna
I
take
learned
that,
a lot.
Liam, bro? This is a misunderstanding.
I learned a lot more
Kian's
than
not gonna.
David
Well,
earlier.
of course, there's other ways to run the argument. I'm just saying, given what he said, Kian. Like, I'm not saying this is a formal critique of the whole argument. I'm saying, given what you said, this is a criticism, because he said the justification for premise one was analytic, and that what made it analytic was that God has the property of necessarily existing. And in that case, you don't even need an argument, right? You can just say, like, given the and this is like what Descartes tried doing. It's not modal, but he's like, oh, greatest conceivable thing has to exist while it's greatest conceivable. If it's the greatest thing, it has to exist, right? And
So
greatest
you
just means
also
it
think Alvin
exists.
Plantinga falls into Kant's objection?
I don't know which argument
Well,
of
Plantinga was just
Plantinga's.
mine. Was just my argument. If it's like if there's no logical contradiction with the maximum great being, defined as having these maximal attributes plus necessary existence, and this being is going to be possible. Invoke S5
Well,
and invoke like axiom 2.
if you say a being, if you define a being as necessary, then trivially it's necessary. But I'm just saying you could prove the existence of pizzas like that.
But when we talk about things being material, they're composed. They're like I'm not seeing how like something material could also be like, unless we like
No,
take like a different like metaphysics of material. Because like
no.
I'm going to
The
like the
mirror.
Aristotelian.
It's a mereological simple. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the pineapple pizza is a mereological simple such that it's all one thing.
Wait, but it's composed of matter. I don't
No,
see
the
how it's
matter is
just.
no. It's the Well, you could just say that the composition is brute. Like you could just say it's brutally composed.
Yeah, composed. Look. Do you take like a different view of like material things, or do you take the Aristotelian view?
I do not take the Aristotelian view.
What view do you take of like um the material world?
What do you mean? Like what substance view do I take?
Yeah.
I don't take a substance view of ontology. I just don't accept the hylomorphic view.
So like, what do you define as something that's material?
I don't define what's material. Typically, material means occupies a spatial, like has spatial extension. That's typically what material means.
So it's in space, time, and matter is all you're saying? Is by
Not that
something
it's in
material?
space, time, and matter, that it has extension. Because I'm not a Platonist about space or time.
So when you say that it just occupies some spatial location, you're just saying it's in space. What does that
Well,
even mean?
so Aristotelians don't take this Platonic view of space you're thinking about. It's not as if space is this like dimension in which things exist.
But I'm
There are
saying, what do you
entities
mean
which
by
have
occupies?
extension.
Like, I'm saying, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm not saying material means occupies space. I'm saying material means has extension.
It just has
Maybe,
extension.
uh-huh.
And by extension, you mean
It's ostensive. I can't like corporeal is a synonym.
it's just going to be primitive? Like you're just saying
Yeah,
that you
extension
can't
isn't
reduce it
primitive.
more?
Yeah,
But
you
I'm
can't
saying like,
reduce
look, when
extension.
you say this thing has like some extension in space,
Like it's what length
and you just
measures.
said it had extension, this isn't really
Uh-huh.
like informative. I don't know
Well, if you
like
knew,
what to
I mean,
take
if you
from it.
knew what extension was, you would be informative.
Well, I don't
Like
know
it's like if
how you're
I
using extension. There's many ways you
what
could use
th-
extension.
what are the alternative interpretations of the term extension that is making this not clear?
Well, when we say that, like, like in the Eastern Orthodox view, that like the energies are like an extension of God, right? This isn't saying this is something like other than God or it's separable from God, but it just like derives or
Well,
proceeds
maybe
from
if you
God.
think in terms of
So
that, it's a little confusing. By extension, I mean like what normal people mean when they look. So, like for example, your table has a length, right?
yeah,
Tables
my
have
table has
length.
a length. Yeah, my
Length
table has a length.
measures, yeah, length measures extension. Is it clear now what I mean?
So something that could just be measured.
It's not just can be measured, it's what length measures.
Well, no, I'm saying when you say that this thing has extension in space, you're saying that this thing could just be measured in space.
I'm saying that it's the kind of thing that is measured by the concept of length.
It is so this thing could just be measured in
Like it has
space.
a shape, it has a size. Like,
So this thing
oh
could
yeah,
just be
that's a
measured
good
in
way.
space. It's kind of just
When
space
you
could be
say
measured in
measured,
space.
you can think about it that way, yeah. We don't have to get into the metaphysics of space. Like it's not as if it exists in space. It's technically inaccurate. But if that's how you understand the term extended, then yes, that is what I mean.
So
Like it's something which
so this material thing occupies space. And under this view, like for this like objection that you're raising, that this could just be like some like pizza, and
it could
under
be
this view of like
necessary. Yeah.
yeah, like so you would just take material things to or space to be like
I'm
always.
taking this pizza to be necessary.
I'm saying I'm trying to like show like the or like trying to like rationalize how this isn't a contradiction
So
using like your frame of like material.
the rationalization is that I have this concept called the perfect pizza, and definitionally, the perfect pizza has the property of necessarily existing. And so in the world there exists a perfect pizza and it's material and it exists necessarily.
Yeah, so you would have to like also like say like in this world or like necessarily that like material things or like space in general is like
Just the pizza. No, just the pizza. That's the only commitment.
well
Because
no well it has this pizza has form, it's able to be
I'm not
measured.
an Aristotelian, so I don't
Well,
accept that either.
no, this is what you said. This is under your definition of material. You're saying this
I
pizza
didn't
is
say it had
material.
form. What? I'm not
Wait,
saying it
wait,
has an organizing principle. Like
wait, is this pizza material?
the pizza's material. Yeah, I'm not a hylomorphist. Like I
Yeah,
don't
you don't
believe
need to
that.
be. I'm going under your definition of material right
So
now.
why are you talking about form?
Because you said this thing is gonna have like form, size, shape, and you're gonna be
I
able to
didn't say
measure
it
it
has
within
form. I
space.
said it has a shape and size.
Okay, so it has shape and size. So this pizza has shape and size that's able to be measured within space.
I'm not
And
going to say it's
what do you
able
take
to be measured
what
because
do you
it's in
take form
principle
to
not.
be? What do you take form to be?
Under a hylomorph, I don't use the term form,
No,
but
I'm
under a
not even
hylomorphic,
a hylomorphic view. What do you take form to be?
the term form is a technical term in hylomorphism. That's what I take it to mean. A form is the organizing principle of a substance.
The organ the organizing principle of a substance.
Yeah,
Okay, so this pizza doesn't have
it doesn't have an
some like
organizing
organized
principle of its
properties.
substance. No, it has properties. It's just not. It doesn't have an organizing principle. There's not an
My organ
immaterial component of being present in composing the object.
Wait, can you repeat that? I apologize. I didn't hear
There's
that.
not an immaterial component of being which composes the object.
Okay, so this just doesn't have like a soul. That's all you're
Yeah,
saying.
the pizza, well, souls are a kind of form, but there's other kinds of form too.
Well, you're
So
saying it doesn't have this like a, yeah, but like this is basically what you're just saying right now. It's like it doesn't
it
have.
doesn't have
That's
a,
what you're
yeah,
trying to say.
yeah, because I don't
Or doesn't
believe
have or
that.
it doesn't have like a soul. I meant to say
Yeah, it doesn't have those things because I'm not an
it's
Aristotelian.
not rational.
Because
So
I'm
to
not an
break it down.
Aristotelian.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
not saying that you're an Aristotelian. I'm not saying that.
I'm
I'm
saying
just
I'm
saying
not. That's why I'm not an Aristotelian,
that's
which is
fine.
why I don't believe.
I asked you that before. You said no. I
Well,
think
that's
I
what I'm
got
saying.
that.
I'm just telling you that's the motivation for believing that it doesn't have a form because I don't believe allomorphism is true. So I don't believe everything has a form.
Well, I'm saying that's fine. I was just trying to get what you believe, like a form to be like, what definition you would be going under. But
That's what hylomorph. I'm just.
look. I'm saying that's fine, man. I'm saying that's fine. I'm trying to move on. So like
All
when you
right.
say this thing has like size and shape again, right, and it's able to be measured within space, right?
Mm-hmm.
This requires some space to exist for it to exist within inside of it. No,
That's if you're a Platonist about space. I just told you I'm not a Platonist.
well, you don't need to be a Platonist to believe this. This is
Yes, you do.
what it
You
entails.
just
It.
you just
So
described
so
the
wait.
Platonic
So
view of
this
space.
wait. So this thing that exists within space doesn't
You
also
saying
exist within
space
space.
isn't a okay? This is why you're not
Well,
getting it.
you're saying this has some extension
Are you
within space. That
familiar
was
with
your
the
definition of
difference between?
material.
No, no. That's the definition I'm using to help communicate the concept to you. I gave you the preliminary qualification that this is
Well,
using the
that
Platonic
was
view of
verbatim your
space.
definition. When I asked you to clarify more, you said
I
you couldn't
told you.
clarify more,
I told you.
and it was just
I
primitive.
literally clarified. Why are you retconning the conversation
Uh,
as if I
I'm not.
wasn't here? Because
I'm
I literally told you verbatim. I told you verbatim that when I say material, I mean as extension.
yeah,
And then you were like, "Oh
extension
yeah,
in
it exists in
space.
space." And I was
No, you
like,
said
if
extension in space. That's why I said it exists in space.
I okay, I literally made this clarification point earlier so we could avoid this. I told you explicitly that what I mean by material is as extension. And you can think about it in the Platonic way so you can get the concept of extension, but I'm not a Platonist about space. So by extension, I don't mean exists in space. Do you understand where we're at right now? Because you are the question you just said, or the point you just made, you're like, oh well, if a material thing has extension, then it must have extension in space. So space
No,
must exist.
no. Your definition was it has extension in space. It has spatial extension.
I
Your
just
verbatim
told you.
definition.
I
That was
told you it
verbatim your
has
definition.
extension. I didn't say. I literally
You
told
said
you it's
spatial
not.
extension. You said spatial extension.
I don't think you're
I'm literally
getting it,
staring
bro.
at my screen right now. Like
I
I
think you
wrote
wrote.
down your definition
I
of
think
this.
you. I don't think you wrote. Okay. I would just maybe. I'm not backtracking, but I would just grant this to move on. The term spatial extension. No, that's not the definition of material. I said material means has extension.
And all this means is that it's able to be measured.
No, no.
Is what we
Not
went
that
by
it,
extension, right?
no, no. But the property of having extension does not mean it has the property of being measured. I'm telling you that extension is measured by length, that it's the thing which is measured by length. It doesn't have to be measurable. I'm saying it's the thing which is measured by it. Does that make sense? Like whenever you measure how long something is, you're measuring its extension. Now,
Yeah.
space is, this is the thing, like you're treating space as if it's a kind of like a container things exist in. Like it's a dimension on which things exist. And that space must exist as a dimension so that things can exist within it. That's not my view, because that's a Platonic view of space, which as an Aristotelian, which I assume you are, you should not accept, because the Aristotelians don't accept the Platonic view of space. They actually very famously deny it.
Yeah, no, I'm not a Thomas. I just take some like Aristotelian definitions. That's it. But
Yeah,
no,
but
I'm
if
not
you
a
take the
Thomas.
if you're a hylomorphist, right? Like you think entities are composed of matter and form.
Yeah.
Right. So under this view, you believe that space is not a container on which things exist, like a Platonic manifold, but instead, space is a relationship between entities. So there's not like a dimension in which things exist. There's just relationships among entities, which is my view. So it's not, I don't believe that space, quote unquote, exists because space is just a relationship between things.
So I'm
But
confused. Oh, go ahead, go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah,
No, go
the
ahead, go
point is
ahead.
that um, whenever you say, oh, well, your view, the necessarily existing pizza must commit you to the view that there necessarily exists space. But that's not the case because I don't think that space is a precondition for existence. Alternatively, I think that existence is a precondition for space because I'm an Aristotelian about space and not a Platonist.
So existence is what's necessary for space, not space is necessary to like contain things.
Yeah, exactly. Objects don't exist in space. Space exists between objects. Another way to say it is I'm a spatial relativist. Another way to say that.
I mean, if you take this view, but
Well, it's probably the view you want to take.
Well, yeah, I guess when you're trying to like refute the MOA.
What's the view you want to? Oh shit, I don't want the cancel. What's probably the view you want to take if you're an Aristotelian?
I'm not an Aristotelian. I already stated that I'm not an Aristotelian, but I'm saying that this is the view that you would probably take to refute the MOA.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So that's the argument you're giving. And I think you equivocated between two arguments, but the point though is that the argument you gave concludes the existence of a necessarily great pizza, which is absurd. Like that's a reductio. Because you could like I could do that for literally anything, right? So I could say like SpongeBob and his friends in Bikini Bottom necessarily exist. And actually, you can demonstrate like even stronger contradictions. Like I could say that there necessarily exists a leprechaun dancing in front of you, and you could like look at the world in front of you, and your view would simultaneously commit you to the fact that there's a leprechaun dancing in front of you, which would be very evident to you, but it's not evident to you. So it's just like, yeah, actually, yeah, I could qualify that it has the property of being visually present, and then there would just be like a literal contradiction. So, that's a good deal on your view around that argument. I don't know if you're just like running the waters because that guy's not very good at debating, but
Great. Clap it up for Liam, guys.